Pakistan Lost. Introduction. This is not a history book, but it is a book about history. Often revelatory and often opinionated, this book is not meant to serve as the definitive history of Pakistan or any of the specific epochs of history that it covers. This book is meant to serve as a counter narrative against the dross and drivel popularized in Pakistan as history. Even though it has been meticulously researched and I stand by every word that has been written, this is not a book intended to be quoted by academics and historians in the future. Rather, it is meant to serve as a gateway drug for those interested in history. I, too, was once a starry eyed boy enamored by the story of Pakistan that I had been told. I did not go to the extent of shouting, "I will sacrifice my life for Pakistan" in the school assembly only to be memed, but I did my fair share of dances on Air Jawan at school functions. As a child, I also played an unsuspecting villager who drove away Indian soldiers with nothing but sticks during the war of 1965 in a school tableau. This was my idea of Pakistan. A group of ragtag, zealous individuals who defied exceedingly improbable odds to create a nation. I wholeheartedly bought into the myths of Pakistan that we learned in Pakistan studies. My nostalgic view of my childhood is that identity differences did not largely matter. I never even knew which one of my friends was an Ahmadi or Shia, and even if I did, it did not impact my view of them. My childhood neighbor was from one of the leading scholarly Shia families of Pakistan, and our families treated each other with love and reverence, without an ounce of hatred. We waited for the halim and the biryani every Muharram with bated breath. However, my experience cannot be extrapolated as the ubiquitous Pakistan experience. My relatively privileged childhood and my identity shielded me from the reality of the lived experiences of many Pakistanis. I was not Hindu, so I never knew what it felt like to sit in a class while the history teacher taught us about the conniving, scheming Hindus in pre partition India. I was not Shia, so I did not know how it felt like every Muharram knowing fully well that your Julus could be targeted. I was not Baloch, so I did not know what it meant to go through checkpoints and be viewed with constant suspicion by the state. The history of 1971 and East Pakistan has practically been erased from the curriculum in Pakistan, so I did not know what Pakistan had done. It is only when I went to university that I was able to view the world with a much broader lens than my own identity or my individual lived experience. My first real interest in politics developed during the declaration of emergency by Pervez Musharraf. Like many young students in Pakistan, I participated in anti-emergency protests against Musharraf. My teachers had FIRs lodged against them. Asim Sajjad Akhtar had to leap the university boundary wall to give a rousing speech to the bunch of us gathered in the sports complex. A speech that ended with a riff on a national song. Na tera Pakistan hai, na mera Pakistan. Ye uska Pakistan hai, jo sadre Pakistan. Over the years since then, throughout my law degree and my master's thesis, the interest in Pakistan history remained. I kept reading and I kept writing. By the time I was done with my Fulbright scholarship, I was regularly writing columns for some of the leading news publications of Pakistan. Over the past 6 years, I've been hosting a podcast called The Pakistan Experience, where we routinely invite some of the leading historians and academics of the world to discuss the political, social, and economic history of Pakistan. We also make explainer videos going over episodes in our history. This book has come out of all of that work. Pakistan Lost. Ideas on the Idea of Pakistan picks 10 moments where we as a nation zigged instead of zagging, and that has made all the difference. These 10 moments are incidental. As instrumental as they are, I'm not making the claim that these are the 10 most important moments. Certain moments may be more important than the ones I have picked, but they have been left out because they warrant a book of their own. The hanging of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto is one such incident. I feel the weight of that incident and the Ziaul Haq era that followed warrants an entire book on its own. Another aspect of this selection is that I wanted to pick certain moments that are not often talked about. Few people trace back the popularity of the Islamic touch politics of today back to the Muslim demand for separate electorates. The through line I've drawn to the past will, hopefully, help people understand the present in better light of history. It will also hopefully show us how the moments Pakistan studies shows us as victories have actually hurt us in the long run. The minority rights essay in particular reads like a Marvel what if episode. Another moment in our past I assume few Pakistanis even know about, let alone write about. The imposition of Urdu and the history of 1971 are also such forgotten episodes in our past. None of this is to say that I have uniquely discovered or unearthed a new history of Pakistan. Hardly any of the work presented here is what can be passed off as new primary research. I heavily rely on the work of historians and fully credit them for their research. The book is not intended to reinvent the wheel, but to make history more accessible to the people who may not pick a voluminous book about the past. I hope to spark an interest like the one that was sparked in me many years ago, and let the curiosity that this book fosters in the reader lead them to the work of historians like Ali Usman Kasmi or K.K. Aziz or Aisha Jalal, or political scientists like Mohammad Wasim, or academics like Tariq Rahman, Zahid Hussain, or Dr. Ilhan Niaz, who all have written books infinitely better than anything I can offer. What I hope from this book is to give the new generation the same experience an entire generation had reading K.K. Aziz's seminal work, The Murder of History. A starry-eyed, Pakistan studies infused child reading that book is like being told Santa is not real. However, it is crucial to go through that experience to unlearn the ideology that has been sold to us in the garb of history. Those myths were created for political goals, and we were taught to uncritically accept them. However, this book will force you to look at history more critically, question beliefs you hold to be true, unlearn prejudices, and examine your biases. You may find some biases creep into this work as well. Some of them are by design. I have a bias for democracy over dictatorships. So, if the wrongdoings of dictators have been overplayed compared to their civilian counterparts, this is not meant to whitewash the politicians or to present them as angels. The prevailing, the prevailing narrative in Pakistan is one of the corruption of politicians, and there is a culture of silence about the misdeeds of the establishment. I am conscious that I am writing to an audience that lives with those narratives. Hence, the essays are meant to redress some of the historical imbalances in our history rather than serve as a definitive history book. As with any book, there might be shortcomings, and there might be things you feel are important that have been left out. Whether to focus the narrative of the essay or for the sake of brevity, I can assure you that nothing has been left out of malice, ill intention, or to promote any agenda. I hope this book is read with the same earnest inquiry with which it was written. A journey I started many years ago when I first developed my love for the history of this nation. As my beard grayed, I learned that patriotism was not limited to waving your flag on a certain idea. It also meant critically looking at the nation we have built, questioning the role of the state, and lending my voice to tell the forgotten, uncomfortable parts of our history. That is my goal with the podcast, and that is my goal with this book. To break apart from the monopoly of the state on the story of Pakistan. To show people that the Pakistan experience is not a singularity, and it encompasses a mosaic of experiences, that our identities are multiple, and forcing uniformity in the name of unity through state repression has always backfired for the state. I'm thankful to everybody who's been part of this journey, from friends to families to teachers that I've had. I'm eternally grateful to all the historians and academics I have quoted in the book, from whom I have immensely learned and continue to do so. All the guests who've come on the Pakistan experience have also taught me a lot, and I cannot thank them enough for their time and their thoughts. I'm thankful to friends and colleagues like Nadeem Farooq Paracha, Parvez Hoodboy, Ali Usman Kasmi, Amir Mughal, Faisal Vadai, Sayyid Muzammil Shah, Uzair Yunus, Khurram Hussain, Adil Afzal, Shahram Azhar, to whom I can turn for help to share my thoughts while formulating this book. These ideas have been formed over decades of meaningful conversations with friends, comrades, colleagues, mentors, and teachers. From learning political philosophy with Anne-Christine Hubbard at LUMS to hosting some of the leading academics like Atif Mia on the podcast. Every single interaction has been a gift, such that words cannot fully encapsulate the gratitude I hold for all that these people have shared with me. I also want to acknowledge the help of everyone at Liberty Books who helped birth this book. A special thanks to friends like Ella Hussain, Jabran Khalik Muswar, Sheikh, and Mahin Humayun, who have encouraged me immensely over the years towards this endeavor. Lastly, thank you to Samia Arif for the lovely book cover that you see. And thank you to all of you for buying this book and reading this book. Happy reading, and stay curious.